So Dress to Kill is a film that I have never seen, and I've been wanting to for a while now. I've looked through De Palma's films, and I was actually ashamed that I haven't seen a few of them that were like, oh man, I need to see this, and I fucking never seen this, and it's crazy. You know, I've seen a lot of his big stuff, like The Untouchables and Carrie, and I'm a big fan of Phantom of the Paradise. I love Body Double, and you know, so on and so forth. So De Palma he's definitely a stylish director. A film like this, though, like I knew nothing about this film going in, nothing except for Nancy Allen was in it. She's actually hot as shit in this, which is funny because I know her from RoboCop. And she is not attractive in RoboCop to me. But in this, I'm like, oh my god. Like, I don't know. She was playing the sex, like trying to play like the, it's kind of sexy in RoboCop. And I was just like, nah, sweetheart, you're not sexy. Like, I don't know. And then this isn't even that long before. I don't know if it's her haircut. I don't know if it's what it is in that movie. But she's not attractive in this one. It's like, oh, damn. That's okay. Now I get it. I knew this before because I've seen her in other things. But I knew this is one where she really was like showcased as the hottie. But anyway, and she's married to De Palma, right? But a film like this would never, ever, ever fucking work today. Never. We're way too critical about stories and plot elements and character decisions and character reactions and all that stuff. Like, I try not to be. And I can see this movie for what it is. I can enjoy this movie for what it is. Absolutely. And I had a good time watching it. I didn't love it. I mean, I know a lot of people who are just like fucking over the moon about it and are like, this is, you know, one of the greatest movies ever and one of my favorite horror movies and whatever. That's great. Good. I mean, I'm not down on you for that at all. There's so much shit in this that I was laughing at because of how ridiculous it was. And I get it. Like, it's style. You don't have to worry about believability when it's just supposed to be like artistic expression and whatnot. I get that. Trust me. I understand that. But I don't know. I can do that. There's plenty of films like that. The Neon Demon was like that. Artistically gorgeous. I just fucking was like immersed in the film the whole time. So visually stunning. Suspiria is like that. There's lots of nonsensical things. Right? Like the plot elements of the story, all that stuff is very secondary. So I get it, and I can watch this film like one of those films. But because this is me, I'm gonna point out a lot of ridiculous shit in this film for fun, just playfully. But as I said, it would never, ever, ever fly today. It just wouldn't. But critics might love it because of the old school feel or whatever, but oh my god, modern day audiences going into a film like this, they're so forgiving about 70s and 80s movies. It's crazy in comparison to what they say. Like, you do any little fucking thing wrong in a movie today, oh my god, you will be destroyed on the internet. Well, how come this character's eyes are what? It's like, fuck off, dude, come on. Like, I playfully do it. They are like, this movie is a piece of shit because this little teeny thing might be a plot hole, kind of. Like, oh my god. Anyway, so what an opening. What a fucking opening shot, man. Just some hot ass woman using a body double, which is funny because of his other film called Body Double. But yeah, she's using a body double in this. Who cares? A wonderfully gorgeous naked body is like molesting itself down up here and down here, the whole shebang. A sexy scene, which is interrupted by this rape fantasy, maybe? I don't know what was up with her in that scene. And then it cuts to her husband giving her really lame sex and her kind of trying to fake it. And she goes over to her psychologist, psychiatrist, what have you. And I was just dead set. Spoilers, guys, of course. I was dead set. Like, I was being such a stubborn asshole about this, but I didn't care what like misleads they were throwing at me. I was like, Michael Caine is the fucking chick in this movie. He is the killer in this movie. Like, I've never heard a word about this, I swear. I'm not trying to say I'm smart or cool or anything. Nothing like that. But no matter how many things they threw at me, trying to prove to the contrary, the phone call and the woman chasing after her and all these different things, I was just like, for a second, I was like, oh, maybe not. And then I'm like, no, I'm fucking sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. It's Caine. I don't know how. And then at the end, we get the explanation. I'm like, that's how. That's how. But even though I couldn't figure out how on some of those things in the moment, I was like, no, it's him. It's him. I'm sticking to it. Somehow they're going to make it him because he's one of the only main characters. And I don't know. Anyway. We get Nancy Allen in this. Nancy Allen to me was someone, you know, she's obviously, like, for me, is RoboCop. And in RoboCop, I never found her attractive at all. And people will, like, blow her up. Like, oh my God, Nancy Allen's so hot. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I saw some other movies where she was in. I was like, okay, she's kind of cute. She's pretty. Okay, whatever. This is the movie, right? Like, this is the one that everyone got that from, because she's fucking hot in this movie. Holy shit, man. I love her in this. I get it, man. No wonder. De Palma was married to her, right? Like, that's what, anyway. And, oh, frickin' Arnie Cunningham from Christine himself is in this. How cool. Love to see his ass. We also got Jeff from Friday the 13th Part 2. He's the cab driver who's, you know, oh my God, that scene, that whole sequence right there, and what happens and transpires after that sequence is some of the most ludicrous shit I've seen in a film in a while. I was sitting there like, really? That wouldn't happen. Really? That wouldn't happen, you know? And as I said, like, I nitpick for fun. It doesn't mean I'm fucking hating on the film. I like picking them apart. I like pointing out ridiculous things. This whole flirting in the gallery thing and the cat and mouse and her back and forth with a guy and the glove and all this, and like the callbacks where she's split screen, a lot of split screen shots in this to like give us callbacks so that there's no dialogue and it's stylish and cool, and I get all that, but that scene went on for way too long for me. Like, even though it was cool and they didn't need any dialogue and it was really pretty and it was, you know, building some sort of I don't know if it's like romance or tension or whatever, but whatever it was, it just overstayed its welcome for me. After a little while, it was just like, okay, I get it. Like, let's get to it. And then when he pulls her into the cab and starts fucking her, and the cabbie's all pervy looking back, I kept thinking he was going to be like, hey, cut it out. But he was probably like jerking off with the other hand and crashes into somebody. But she wakes back up at his apartment, and then she goes out and she finds the letter. Oh, man. Imagine that. Finding the fucking letter after you have sex with some total stranger, unprotected, clearly. And it's like, oh, you got fucking chlamydia and syphilis and gonorrhea. I mean, I don't know if syphilis was as easily curable as it is now. Then that might have been. I don't know. But now both of those, gonorrhea and syphilis, are pretty easy to get rid of. Yeah, still, it's like, you motherfucker. But he could have. God, that letter could have been from a while ago. He could have been cured of both of those, but I don't know. He's fucking strangers in cabs. Clearly, he's not making the best decisions. If he did get rid of them, it's still like, you shouldn't be fucking strangers in cabs. You should have learned your lesson by now. Oh man, and this is 1980, man. This is when the AIDS epidemic was fucking in its like heyday. I felt bad for her. I mean, I did. I felt bad for the bored housewife. I mean, that's a shitty position to be in. To be with someone, have a kid, to have a life, to be the housewife and all that. And you're just like unfulfilled in every way, and you're miserable, and you feel like you can't speak up. And I get it. Like, I never thought I would understand cheating, you know, until you like have kids and you get into this life and you get into this, and then, you know, I'm not saying that I personally have done it or condone it, But it's like, I get it. I get it. I just, I don't think you should do it. I think that you should fucking bite the bullet and just do it, like fucking get out. But I completely understand the convenience of it. Like, well, I got the house and I got the kid and I got the husband and I got all that. Like, I like that part of it, but I'm so miserably bored that if I could just get a little on the side, if I could just do this and just keep it purely to that, then I could be fulfilled all the way around. But if in order to get this, I'd have to leave all of this. But like either one makes me unhappy. Like, I get it. So I feel real bad for her, for sure. And the fact that she finds the gonorrhea letter, right? It's like she's being punished for cheating. I mean, that's kind of something that you could look at in this film, like the two women that he's going after in this. I mean, yes, because they turned him on, but she's trying to cheat on her husband, and she does. And the other one's a prostitute. So it's basically like, sinful women are being punished here, which is how somebody would read into films like this. I'm not usually the kind of guy to read into films. I'm not incapable of doing it. I could sit here and talk about that kind of shit all night. I don't know. It's very pretentious to me a lot of times, but I think this one's fairly heavy-handed in that sense, so I thought I'd point it out. But yeah, I mean, this film, I'm not going to be the first to say this by any means. I've never read a review on this. I've never seen anybody say shit about this except for that they love it. But my God, is this film like I mean, I would almost go as far as to say it is a reimagining of Psycho. I mean, it has got so many fucking homages or blatant takeaways from Psycho in it. So I don't think it's trying to hide that fact. Like, I'm sure if I watched an interview with De Palma or anybody, like, he'd be like, yeah, dude, I fucking love Psycho and this was my love letter to it or whatever. Like, to deny that this has Psycho written all over it would be insane. I mean, just absolutely fucking insane. There's so many things in this film. So many. Like, probably, I can't even give you a number, but a lot. It's not like 2 or 3 where it's like, oh, it's a lot. It's 2 or 3. No, like a lot. I was watching, I was just like, oh, okay, this. I mean, one of the main things, which is really cool because this never happens in films and it needs to happen more. So I was glad to see that this was one of the things that he took away from Psycho is killing your main character, like 35 minutes into the movie. It's 35 in this one. I think in Psycho it's like 45. So it's a little deeper into Psycho. But killing that main character and then just kind of subverting over to Nancy Allen's character as opposed to Vera Maya's character, Lila freaking, oh damn, now well, Lila Loomis in the sequel. That's what I have. That's why I'm fucking this name up right now, is because I love Psycho 2 so damn much. Crane, there you go. Lila Crane. Fuck my life. Anyway, let's see here. I already talked about that. Oh man, she's a litterer. She saw the glove, she couldn't find it, so she just threw it on the ground. She's a litterer. She needed to die. Fucking litterers. Yes, I wrote that down, and I thought it was impertinent information to divulge. Yeah, lots of reminders, as I said. A lot of split screen in this. A lot of those like foreground and background shots that are like both in focus with that blur in the middle. What the fuck are those called? I tried to look up what that's called, but I couldn't find a name for it. So any of you fucking film guys out there who actually went to film school and know what the hell they're talking about, tell me what one of those is called. I saw like a deep focus was a name, but it was like all in focus. There wasn't that blurry line in the middle. It was like 2 characters being focused on. It's like sort of blurry in the middle. Give me a name. Give me a name. I want to know what that's called. It's a cool shot. Seen it in tons and tons of films, but it's used a lot in this one. I know, like, no. Let's see here. Yeah, I wrote down definitely a man in a wig before it was revealed that the phone call was like, it's a man in a wig, you know, like, I killed your thing, I was dressed like a woman, all that, which is obviously him calling himself. But yeah, I was just like, oh, okay. Another callback to Psycho here. I'm sure this isn't intentional because this came out after this film, but I think it's coincidental that Toomey from Psycho 2 is in this movie as the detective. Oh man, what do your guests get? Bates dead. Ah, I love that. I love that movie. So damn good. I like Arnie's freaking character in this movie. The geeky science kid. He taps the detective's office, and he goes and he sets up a camera, and he goes and I love the shot of him like clicking the timer, and he's timing every single patient who walks out. He must have had to be there. I mean, all the patients that walked out, he was timing them in that same address. I mean, they each have hour appointments and going in and out. I mean, he must have been there for days. He had like 30 numbers written down on his phone. Like the fastest one was like 8 seconds, and somebody was like fucking 19 seconds. Was it somebody on a walker? Jesus Christ, man. It took him forever to get out of there. But he knew he had to cut it down to like 4 seconds per thing. I guess he never saw. So what? Like Michael Caine left and then he came back. I don't know. We don't see him go back, but I guess he did, and then he came back out, but the kid didn't notice that Michael Caine didn't come back out. But I don't know how long the camera was there. It doesn't matter. That's not a plot hole at all. I'm just thinking aloud at the moment. And then, yeah, I like that Nancy Allen's a hooker, a pro. You know, she's not just some innocent girl. Yeah, and the woman that she's talking to on the phone when she's like taking stock tips and all that, or not stock tips. She's buying stocks because of the stock tips she got, because she's kind of, you know, she's looking for her future financially. She's buying paintings and that she thinks are going to sell for much more money later on. She's all about investments. But one of the women she's talking to on the phone is named Norma. I mean, it is just so heavy-handed. It's funny. I was listening. Wow. I think I can't remember. I started another fucking thing. So did I say that? Yeah, Jeff from Friday 2's in this. I love that. I love that Jeff from Friday the 13th Part 2 is in this, and that whole scene, that whole segment with him as the cabbie, and that, like, everything that happens there and everything that happens after is so fucking ludicrous. We'll get to that. We'll get to that here in a minute. I love when Nancy Allen shows up at that guy's door, Cleveland, and he is just astonished by how hot she is. Like, he's like, oh my God, like I won the fucking hooker lottery. like I thought the woman who was going to come to my door was going to be hideous. And then this just goddess shows up at his door, and he like yanks her in there. He does like the President Trump handshake, where he just yanks her in the fucking building. Like, get in here, I gotta get my dick in you really quick. I just thought that was funny. Like, it's not really there for any reason. It's just funny. I just thought it was a funny scene. It doesn't really serve any purpose to the film. I just was like, okay, like we get to see her going out and still doing it. She's one resilient chick, man. Throughout this movie, she's just like, oh, you know, this is happening to me? Like, oh, no big deal. That happens in the cabbie ride. I think we're here now, right? Yeah. So she tells the cabbie to run through the lights, whatever, and, you know, the chick who's chasing her, who ends up being the detective's plant at the end, which I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I thought it was Michael Caine's character, but no, it's the cop. But that's cool. But anyway, yeah. So she's like, she thinks it's the killer behind her. Like, she sees the woman who's blonde, clearly chasing. It looks just like the killer. Why have a person tail her that looks just like the killer? Ridiculous. Whatever, doesn't matter. But she's chasing after her, and she's fucking, like, tells the guy, run through the lights, and then he does, and then he can't lose her, and he turns around and he's like, sorry that what did he say? He says, like, sorry I didn't deliver, but can I take you out on a date sometime? And she's like, yeah, and she just smiles. She's like, call me sometime. I don't think she gave him her number. And she just smiles and gets out of the car and just walks off like no care in the world when there's a fucking car right behind her with a possible killer in it. What the fuck? And then the killer gets out, and this guy knows that he was being chased, and then he fucking knocks the killer over, which isn't the killer, obviously, it's the cop, but she thinks it's the killer. He thinks that this person is chasing after her. Who knows what the hell it is? I don't know how the hell he's gonna call her, as I said. That was such a weird scene. Then she gets accosted by these dudes down in the subways there. And these guys are talking about raping her. Like, well, I'm gonna break your ass. And he's like, why break it when we can fuck it? And they're like chasing her down. Somehow they can't catch her. Like, she's like lightly jogging away, and like they get held up by like one older woman who's like standing there in the middle of it. She's not like trying to stop or anything. She just is a detour, a little block in the way, and somehow Nancy's able to just like she slows down her jog and then just enters the train next to the cop, and then goes and tells the cop right there in the train all about the hoodlums who are after her. And then when she goes to mention that the killer, who is out to try to prove is the killer, because the cop's like, I'm gonna put your ass in jail if you don't get me some information. And here's a city cop who she could be like, the killer's after me, whatever. He would know about the case, I'm sure. I mean, this woman got slashed to death in New York. It would definitely be something he would know about. She goes to tell him, and she's like, you know what, never mind. It's like, never mind? 5 guys just tried to rape you, and I get it. She's like, he's not listening to me. He doesn't believe me. It's like, no, he doesn't not believe you. There's just no one there, which I don't know why they wouldn't be there. But then they get on the train after. I guess they just went down to the next car and then came through after the cop had gotten off. And then they're chasing her through the train. No one's helping, which I don't know if that's believable or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I would think that someone would be like, what the fuck is going on here? At least one person. And then they get attacked she gets attacked from behind, and the gang guys are like, oh, hell no. And so they run off, and then Artie comes in and he sprays him with this mace. And somehow, they don't see his face. They don't see his face. Somehow, Artie comes in and sprays him with mace in the face. Okay, he's wearing glasses. Okay, so if he's wearing the glasses, huge glasses, they point out that these are huge fucking bug-eye glasses, then the mace wouldn't work. I mean, it might irritate him a little bit, but not to the point where he'd be screaming and running out of there, because he's running out of there and mace is clearly all over his face with no glasses. So if he was wearing the glasses, fine, but he shouldn't be maced. But if he wasn't wearing the glasses, which he probably wasn't because of how he was maced, she would have seen him, he would have seen him, then she would have been like, oh, that was fucking a dude. That was Michael Caine. That was whatever. Like, she saw him in the precinct, I'm pretty sure. And he sat down, and he knows him. He knows that's his mom's psychiatrist. He talked to him not a fucking day ago. Whatever, like, ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. All of that was ridiculous to me. But still, like, it's thrilling. It's well directed. It's well shot. It's got tension. It's very cool. So all of that is A+ stuff. I'm not saying that. This is an extremely cool movie, like stylistically and all that stuff. This is awesome. But these things in the movie I can't not point out for being fucking goofy, man. They're fucking goofy. Yeah, I'm a nitpicker. What of it? And yeah, I already said all that. Then, as I said, he admits to wanting to fuck Nancy Allen as well. I thought that was great. And every time that someone's like, do you want to fuck me? He has to look at himself in the mirror. Because that's like him reflecting back, like, who am I here? He's got like the stepfather moment, like, who am I here? But yeah, he's like looking at himself like, yeah, I'm a man. Like, I'm a fucking man. And then he looks in the mirror, and then he's like, I'm a woman. Like he's fighting back and forth between, and he goes to take off his shit so that you think he's getting undressed to get down. But he's getting undressed because he needs to dress up like Mama, right? Like Norma. And yeah, I mean, then she gets attacked and all that stuff happens, and he's taken down and he's put to Bellevue, I guess, which they have the shittiest security ever. But I think all of that's a dream. I want to say that's all a dream because at the end I'm like, what? No, come on. And then but then she goes in and she talks to the detective and everything, and she's like, so you knew I wasn't the killer, and you put this girl on me, and you risked my life by this killer coming after me. And he's like, yeah, I was at a football game with my family. And she's just like, oh, like laughing and no big deal. So in the cabbie, she's being chased by a murderer. She just laughs it off and is like, yeah, I'll take you out on a date sometime. Are you paying? And then she fucking gets almost fucking murdered because of a detective putting her out there as bait. And she's just like, oh, I love, I love to help the police department when I can. Wow, really? No, absolutely not. Ridiculous shit. And then, the whole ending, like pretty much from that point, there is the scene where Artie, oh, and before that, sorry, there is the fucking full-on psychiatrist. At the end of Psycho, the psychiatrist explains that Norman isn't isn't a homosexual or whatever. Like, he's a cross-dresser or whatever. Like, this guy is just, like, explaining it exactly the same way. It is almost the same scene. And then she goes and for some reason, has this conversation with Artie, who is sitting there just listening to her explain the procedure of having a sex change operation, and this woman in the background just being disgusted. Now, I live in 2018 where this shit happens and gets talked about all the fucking time. So I'm just used to it. So maybe in 1980, this was like racy ass shit, and that woman in the background was like, bleh. Although anyone that age nowadays probably still against that stuff. Anyway, and as I said, I think the him in the insane asylum killing the nurse, taking the clothes, coming after her, because oh my god, that scene in the shower, like we were about to have a shower scene, obviously, where we get to see Nancy Allen fully undressed to kill, right? She takes so long. She's like looking at the leg, looking at the leg, looking at the leg, looking at the medicine cabinet, looking at the leg. It's like, fuck, dude, come on. I get it. It's building tension. It's artistic. It's all this and that, but it draws out for so long. And then it's a fucking total fake out. It's like, oh, it's just a dream. She wakes up and Cunningham is there to comfort her. And it's like, I don't know if there's something sexual going on between them. She makes him sleep on the couch, maybe after she blows him. But whatever, he comes in and she holds her, and then she's like screaming, and then the movie ends. It's like a total fake out ending, fuck you, and then credits. So I have my issues with the film. Overall, it's style over substance all day long. Shit, like that freaking elevator door is vicious, man. It just keeps hitting her arm as it's hanging out the door. That elevator is more fucked up than the one in Halloween 2 when Michael gets his arm stuck in there. It's like, don't those things, isn't the whole point of those things to open the damn door back up so they don't close on anyone viciously? Michael's arm would have opened that door. Let's just say that shit. Probably pointed that out in my Halloween 2 review. Anyways, I've got to go to bed, guys. No more about this. Good night.